AZ Husky Rescue has been put to task as the husky breed grows in popularity. Huskies now are prominent residents at county shelters and are found regularly as strays. Anoki and Eddie's story are just two showing the dedication of this rescue to go above and beyond the call to save their beloved breed. Anoki, only 8 to 9 months old, was picked up from Maricopa County Animal Care and Control after being hit by a car. Both front legs were impacted by the accident, one with a severely broken humerus and the other with an apparent serious nerve damage. With both front legs involved, healing would be complicated. AZ Husky Rescue was committed to Anoki and willing to explore all possible medical solutions for his best recovery. Each leg had its own injuries, and some treatments were tried and discarded. The broken leg was successfully operated on and healed as needed. Once the leg surgery was healed enough, the problem of leg nerve damage was addressed with several procedures which did not work out, finally ending in an amputation of that leg. This was not an easy task, as it required a young and now energetic dog to be restricted for weeks on end, with an alternate leg having serious damage to it. Anoki recovered like a champ and began to show his true husky traits and husky love. Anoki's charm and loving personality caught the attention of just the right family hearing of his plight. He was adopted into a perfect home where he thrives and lives a blessed life. Like Anoki, Eddie was an injured stray brought into Maricopa County Animal Care and Control with a horrifying open wound that extended over much of his back end. It was a possible chemical burn and was painful and hard to look at, actually having maggots inside of it. AZ Husky Rescue didn't hesitate to once again make a commitment to a young, emaciated, and lethargic dog who needed immediate care despite the expenses they knew were to follow. In this case, fluids, antibiotics, and good food all led to a successful recovery, and again, Eddie found his forever family and is in a wonderful, loving home where he is cherished. He is described by his family as a goofy, energetic, and adorable puppy who has forgotten his life of suffering and thrives on his life of love. Anoki and Eddie are two of the many dogs rescued by AZ Husky Rescue, who says, "The generous funding from PAC 911's critical care program makes our decision to help dogs like Anoki and Eddie possible. It can be difficult to commit to dogs with many external injuries, knowing that they may be matched by internal problems as well. Our partnership with PAC 911 allowed us to save both Eddie and Anoki." Humane Animal Rescue and Trapping Team, otherwise known as HARTT's, focus is twofold. They help locate and secure lost pets, and they rescue at-risk animals on the streets, often working with other PAC 911 partner rescue groups. Louie was hit by a car and was rescued by HARTT minutes later. Luckily, a HARTT volunteer was in close proximity and was able to transport the near-dead dog to emergency. His rescuer tearfully named him Louie, as he had no identification on him. HARTT teams searched the lost dog maps to find that no one had reported him missing. Louie was given a guarded prognosis at the emergency clinic, citing possible paralysis due to catastrophic injuries. By morning, some pain was felt, a good thing, as it indicated that feeling was returning. Specialty surgery would be needed, and the HARTT team discussed the quality of life that might result. But moments before a decision was made to move forward or not, Louie struggled to give a small tail wag. The team cheered and unanimously decided that it was game on to move forward. The Louie team was formed, consisting of dedicated volunteers with scheduled times to care for him until his surgery date. PAC 911 contributed to what was the most expensive surgery that HARTT ever had faced. Louie survived his surgery, was adopted by his foster family who could not give him up, and who are continually amazed by his progress. He is enjoying the quality of life that he was meant to have. HARTT said, "We are so grateful to the contribution from the Critical Care Program and PAC 911, helping to make this outcome possible." Truman was rescued from a junkyard on a scorching hot day by a HARTT volunteer who had been searching for another dog. She was appalled by his condition and his surroundings, where he cowered under a pile of car parts and sharp metal junk. To try to cool himself, he laid in a filthy puddle of water, oil, and chemicals. HARTT called on Luv of Dogz Rescue to intake this boy, and without any hesitation, they did. At the vet, after every relevant test was performed and medication started, Truman began to feel some relief. He was emaciated, arthritic, and possibly ridden with valley fever. He could barely stand and had trouble walking. Truman was taken to a long-term foster who described him as shut down with no light in his eyes. But love and care brings on miracles, and Truman's life and demeanor began to change. He started to trust, and his previously matted coat became glossy and luxurious from many baths cleansing him of the oil and filth. He gained weight. He learned that he had value and that someone loved him. A light returned to his eyes, and Truman was transformed into a happy boy, doling out kisses and smiles. PAC 911's critical care program played a significant role in Truman's recovery, which was long and costly. Thank you, PAC 911. Born into a feral colony outside a home, a baby kitty was abandoned by its mother, who moved his siblings and left him behind. He was later wandering the streets alone in questionable conditions, and so the family in the home called out to Saving Orphan Souls to rescue him. Once in their care, it was apparent that this little kitty could not see due to severely crusted eyes that were totally glued shut. Placed into a foster home, he was named Sir Soy Sauce. His eyes were bathed regularly to relieve his condition with the hopes of restoring his sight. He was given the best medical care, and he became a joyful and happy kitty. But sadly, his eyes could not be saved, and both had to be removed. This did not stop Sir Soy Sauce from living a full life, not for 1 minute. After all, you don't miss what you don't know. Plus, animals have such acute senses, one compensating for another if one ability is lacking. With his sense of hearing heightened, Soy Sauce learned to navigate his foster home in record time. Saving Orphan Souls brings some of their animals to a senior center so residents can enjoy some cuddles and love. Sir Soy Sauce became a resident favorite. He loved being pampered, and the seniors were more than happy to comply. The best news is that Sir Soy Sauce has been adopted. Yes, a blind kitty has gone to his forever home, but not before Saving Orphan Souls took careful steps to find the most appropriate home for their beloved boy, one who would make a lifetime commitment. His new family is the perfect one for him, providing the cuddles and pampers. Not a bad ending for a little feral blind homeless kitty wandering the streets alone. Saving Orphan Souls says, Sir Soy Sauce and so many others have this chance at a new life because of PAC 911's critical care program, which is truly a blessing for so many animals in need. The program helps to offset those expensive procedures needed. That alone, rescues could not afford. Saving Orphan Souls thanks everyone who donates to the critical care program, and so do the animals with no voice of their own, with the wagging tails and contented meows. Puggy came to help a dog smile after being abandoned at a vet's office in Mexico. He was in a heartbreaking condition. A smashed paw, a badly infected eye, and infected bite wounds along with ulcers and tick fever were just some of the obvious ailments, and he was terrified. This little one had never been cared for, and now his family just left him and never returned. Help a Dog Smile committed to him without hesitation because they knew PAC 911's critical care program would help with direly needed funds for his medical care, which would be extensive. Sadly, it was too late to save Puggy's eye or badly infected leg, so he became a one-eyed tripod pug at just a year old. It's amazing what love and kindness can do. Despite these new handicaps, Puggy was no longer in horrible pain he had previously known. So as his body healed, so did his sweet spirit in the loving care of his new foster home. Puggy also bonded with the family dog, Little Bear, and the two became inseparable. Where one went, the other went, and the bond was so strong that his foster family realized that Puggy could never leave, and he was adopted. Puggy's first year of life was one of misery at the hands of uncaring people with no compassion. Today, he is happy, resilient, and surely one of the lucky ones. Two stories of little critters with storybook endings. Thanks to Saving Orphan Souls, Help a Dog Smile, and PAC 911. PAC 911 partners save animals from many circumstances. Here, working with the MASH unit. In 2018, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office rescued 53 dogs from an unscrupulous individual charged with animal cruelty. The dogs were deprived of food, water, and were living in their own filth. Over time, in the good care of those at the MASH unit, 52 of those dogs were either adopted or sadly had passed away. Only one remained incarcerated, now for a total of 5 years. The MASH unit reached out to PAC 911 to ask for help. This poor dog deserved better than to live in a cell for such a long time. Would someone help? So at a PAC 911 adoption event in January of this year, Nemo's story was told live and in person to all rescues and adopters in attendance, and Saving Paws Rescue wasted no time in agreeing to spring Nemo from his cell at the MASH unit. Cheers and tears erupted from the crowd. With a generous grant from PAC 911's critical care program for forthcoming medical needs, Saving Paws Rescue was able to step out without hesitation, knowing his medical issues would be addressed. Nemo's coat had been visibly thinning and his legs were raw from biting on his wounds. He truly needed a new environment other than a cell. Nemo blossomed at Saving Paws in his new foster home, now showing his gentle but playful spirit. He had been a favorite at the MASH unit and now was charming his foster family with silly, playful antics and loved sitting on laps. His 100-pound body did not always fit where he wanted to be. Nemo loves everyone he meets, from humans to canines to chickens, it was learned. He is so happy being in a home and is surely recapturing some of his lost years of love, thanks to Saving Paws Rescue and PAC 911. Saving Paws is a German Shepherd and Malinois rescue, but to save a life ventured out of their mission. Her name was Gigi. When picking up another dog from county, a tiny little ball of fluff was noticed on the county portal. No, not a gerbil or a long-haired mouse, but rather a tiny Shih Tzu puppy, very sick with parvo. No small breed rescue was able to take her, and without immediate vet care, she would die. Off she went to Saving Paws with help from PAC 911's critical care program, one call later. And she was healed in time with the love and magic provided at Saving Paws. Once getting her strength back, she seemed anxious to interact with the big dogs without hesitation. And interact she did. In no time, she was running the show and bossing them around. Still no bigger than a minute, volunteers fell in love with her, as did everyone, and they wanted her to stay as a mascot. She was an irresistible mop of bouncing fluff. But Gigi needed her own home, and the perfect one was found on a PAC 911 tip. There, she had her own big dogs to torment with glee, and she also has a camel, a zebra, goats, and a zebus to play with. She's in Gigi heaven. It can also be said that she brought heaven to her new family, Tracy and Rich, who find her irresistible. Saving Paws says the PAC 911 grants helping us to save both Nemo from a prison cell and Gigi's life from parvo has meant the world to us and to them. PAC 911 has made a difference for thousands. There are far too many big dogs being relinquished and entering the shelters, and not enough adopters to neutralize the situation. For too many, there are dismal endings. PAC 911 partners save all those they can and then some. Serenity, found near dead on the side of the road in a fetal position, unable to move. She was taken to Maricopa County Animal Care and Control and put on IVs for life support overnight. There was little hope that she would be alive by morning, but she was, and Second Chance Dog Rescue, who always steps up for very hard cases, rushed her to their vet after calling PAC 911 to ensure that medical help would be available. It was. They named her Serenity. She was riddled with valley fever throughout her frail body and in her bones. Serenity could not even open her mouth. She could not eat. She could not walk. Many rescues would have given up on her, but not Second Chance and not PAC 911. Serenity spent weeks on a feeding tube while hospitalized, and small miracles began to happen. She started to regain some strength and soon could eat and even give you a big smile that pit bulls are famously known for. She gained weight and she started to thrive. Serenity had her second chance because of Second Chance, and now is embracing her life. Second Chance says, we were able to take a chance on Serenity because of the continuous funding we get from PAC 911. She and so many others saved by Second Chance Rescue are here thanks to the ongoing support that we get from them. Leia was part of a hoarding case and was rescued with 50 other dogs, none of them who had ever experienced a human touch. They were feral and terrified of humans who had never shown them any kindness. Leia was injured and lived in pain for years with a broken leg injury never seen by a veterinarian. Her injured and painful leg needed medical care. Love Them All Rescue and Sanctuary took Leia into their rescue with a promise from PAC 911 to help with medical funds to defray the costs. PAC 911 also helped many of the other animals from this hoarding situation with funding to help them find placement. Because Leia's leg had been unattended for so long, the surgeons determined that the only course of action to take was amputation. A year later, mission accomplished. Leia is relaxed and ready for adoption, her next milestone. Love Them All invested in Leia, as they do all the dogs they save, many from E-lists. PAC 911 provides constant support to this rescue, who does so much for the most at-risk dogs. On June 22nd, Margo weighed 120 pounds as she languished in the Maricopa County Animal Control Shelter. Her overgrown nails added to more of her discomfort. She could barely get up, and she ate and drank from a prone position. Like so many animals found at the shelters, her health had been neglected so long, and she was no longer wanted by the people who she relied on to care for her. This poor girl was so scared and so shut down, as so many are. One Love Pit Bull Rescue could not leave her at the shelter and found a perfect foster for her, a personal trainer. If she could make people be their best selves, why not Margo? It was learned at the vet clinic that Margo's enormous size was not due to overeating, but rather was a medical condition that could be addressed with meds, exercise, and proper diet. An aggressive program was put into place, and Margo was a compliant student who was able to shed 50 pounds in just 8 months. She now sports a healthy-sized physique and is quite beautiful in her new skin. During the course of her weight loss, Margo was seen on social media with her own Instagram page and garnered thousands of fans cheering her on. She became quite the superstar. PAC 911 was happy to support her successful journey. PAC 911's partners rescue the big ones, the small ones, the young ones, the old ones, and the ones that no one wants. And all are supported by our critical care program, which in 2022 saved 1,200 animals. We will surpass that number this year with your support.